This moment from today's hearing is getting a lot of play in Washington, some pro, some con. This is the Senate Judiciary Chairman.
So, no collusion, no coordination, no conspiracy between the Trump campaign and the Russian government regarding the 2016 election.
All right, let's break down today's events with Democratic strategist and former Clinton advisor Richard Goodstein and former Solicitor General of Texas, Scott Keller. Great to have both of you here tonight, gentlemen.
Good to be here.
Okay, so you heard what the Senate chairman said, their Judiciary Chairman said, Lindsey Graham. This is how the Washington Post reacted to that. They said Graham's attempt to summarize the Mueller report's findings is misleading at best. The report did not assess whether there was collusion because collusion isn't a legal term. In the end, Mueller did not find coordination that would constitute a crime, but he never explicitly said there was no collusion. Trump, Barr, and Graham have said that. Scott.
So, Shannon, we've been hearing about collusion for so long. And now, all of a sudden, there's this pivot to, we don't want to talk about collusion anymore. Because at the end of the day, the Mueller report came out and it said that there was no charges to be brought here. And in that scenario, I think Attorney General Barr is completely correct that the judicial process should not be weaponized for political ends. And that's exactly, I think, the point that Senator Graham was making here. You want to talk about collusion? Let's talk about collusion. It's not there.
Well, and there have been a lot of questions about whether there was a political animus here, Richard. You know that. And you saw Catherine's report, and you saw a number of the members there talked about the origins of this thing and what Barr is doing. So we know today, he said he's working with FBI Director Christopher Wray to look back into things. We know that the U.S. Attorney Huber is looking at things, the Inspector General at the DOJ. Barr said he's talked with him as well, Horowitz, the IG at the DOJ. And Senator Josh Hawley, who sits on the committee and was part of this today, tweeted this. You want to know why the FBI spied on @real Donald Trump, launched multi-year investigations. It's about @real Donald Trump voters. Unelected, progressive elites in our government have nothing but contempt for them. Total, complete contempt. What did Democrats do with that?
A couple things. First, hats off to the president and his supporters. Most Republicans believe the Russians didn't even try to meddle, let alone succeed, as every intelligence, the polls indicate that. There have been polls asking Republicans, do you believe that the Russians intervened? And the answer among the majority of Republicans is no. They don't believe it. So, good. Congratulations.
I think a majority of them don't believe the president took the bait and worked with them.
Well, okay. Well, I'm not going to quibble now. I will be happy to send it to you after the show.
Okay, sounds good. We'll tweet it out.
As regards the collusion, it's interesting that Graham, whom I have a high regard for, Barr, a little less respect after today, are saying no collusion when, and as you said, that Mueller specifically said, we're not looking at collusion because that's not a legal term. We're looking at coordination. And I would say that Trump got off on a technicality and his campaign. The technicality was, the people in the campaign, when he said Russia, steal Hillary Clinton's materials, that's basically what he said. And the Trump campaign didn't steal them themselves. So when they purveyed them, when they used them, they weren't kind of complicit in the coordination. And the Russians didn't do it. They had WikiLeaks or somebody else do it. So it was too attenuated to be, kind of have anybody in the campaign accused of this.
Mueller spent 2 years and millions of dollars, and his assignment is essentially to say whether or not there were crimes committed. I mean, Barr talked about today, it's a binary choice. Either he says, yes, we're going to charge these crimes, or we're not. And ultimately, he said that they weren't going to. Let me bring in Scott here.
So the other aspect of this, though, too, that, we can all go and look. We can read the Mueller report. It's out there. And at the hearing today, it was fascinating because everybody kept wanting to talk about this initial letter, the 4-page summary letter. And so now everyone can go look at it, and they can see what the report said. And I got to tell you, as a former chief counsel on the Senate Judiciary Committee, the hearing today often looked more like debate tryouts than for Democratic presidential hopefuls, and it really did a hearing that was actually trying to uncover some truth.
Well, and there were a lot of people who would say both sides were grandstanding and showboating a little bit. But tomorrow that's not going to happen because the Attorney General is not going to show up there. We had this letter tonight from the Assistant Attorney General, Stephen Boyd, to Chairman Nadler of the Judiciary Committee. He says the Attorney General offered you and other congressional leaders to the chance to review the report with redactions only for grand jury information because that's prohibited by law. Before even reviewing the less redacted version, you served a subpoena instead. Why wouldn't Nadler go look? Why hasn't a single Democrat taken him up on this, chance to come view something he says less than 2% of the material is redacted. Why wouldn't they at least go look before a subpoena?
Well, again, we don't know what's redacted. My guess is Nadler's attitude is, look, I feel as chairman, I'm entitled. We have SCIFs. We have these secure facilities to review things like that. So please give me some credit as chairman of the Judiciary Committee. Look, again, and the fact is, all this explanation about why Barr's not testifying, I think he's not testifying because probably somebody advised him, you're this close from perjuring yourself. We know what happened in that testimony to the House committee that Congressman Christ asked him something where he was deceitful. Did he lie? Did he perjure himself? No. Did he give an answer that was honest? No, he absolutely didn't. And I think that among other things, he decided, I've had it. Look, today when he couldn't even decide what suggestion was, did the White House suggest that you investigate your political rivals? And he kind of reminded me of Bill Clinton saying, what's the definition of is? He was like, what's the definition of suggest? He had a guilty conscience.
He did say that there were a lot of discussions with a lot of different people, because they said the entire White House, and he said he'd have to think about it, which I think is a smart thing to do if you worry that you would give an answer that would get you in trouble. All of us lawyers would feel that way.
Sure.
All right, Scott and Richard, great to have you both.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Back with me now, former U.S. Attorney Joe DeGeneva and Governor Mike Huckabee, former presidential candidate, Fox News contributor. And you did a great job filling in
Thank
for me.
you.
Great to see you. All right, Gov, we heard from Hillary Clinton tonight.
Yeah.
For going on and on and on, already predicting Trump's going to win, basically, and trying to delegitimize a Trump re-election tonight. But the Democrats seem to have this problem with the word spying still. I want to play something for you. This is various cable networks around April 10th. Let's watch.
This FISA warrant to surveil, to spy on Carter Page is in October 2016.
The application to spy on Carter Page was 50 pages long.
When they spied on former Trump campaign advisor Carter Page.
The application to spy on Page was approved by the president's own deputy attorney general.
Yeah, so last April, they had no problem with it.
No,
calling it spying, but now it's like, how dare you use the word spying?
And I thought Barr did a masterful job of spelling out exactly what that meant, going back to his own background. But the bigger problem for the Democrats is they got nothing. They got nothing. They're like people who show up at the barbecue restaurant at closing time and all the meat is gone. So what they're left to do is just lick the bones, gnaw on them a little bit, and suck the barbecue sauce out of the bottle. They've got nothing else to do. And I think, in a way, I almost felt sorry for him watching them. But then I didn't, because they were so rude and disrespectful of the Attorney General, and how he maintained his composure and didn't crawl across the table and go after a few of them is a testament to diplomacy, grace, and being a gentleman.
Yeah, a true professional. Joe, they're making a big deal tonight about the fact that Barr said on the House testimony tomorrow, because they were going to have staff attorneys ask some of the questions. For our viewers out there, why is it a problem if some staff attorneys ask questions of the Attorney General? I mean, the stuff you see online, people saying can't take the heat, can't take some questions from staff attorneys? Big deal.
No, actually, it's just not protocol. It's just not done to a Senate-confirmed cabinet member. They are supposed to be questioned by the members of the committee. And it seems, according to Chairman Nadler, that none of the Democratic members is capable of asking the Attorney General proper questions. That's a surprise to me, since many of them are lawyers. But the only time you allow counsel to interview witnesses in a hearing is when it's an investigative hearing,
like
when
Watergate.
It's almost like a grand jury. You never do that for oversight hearings or budget hearings or anything. So, and remember, Bill Barr agreed to appear, and then after he agreed, Nadler decided to change the rules. It's just, it's
this is all theater.
It's typical
this is all
Democratic,
like you're hiding something.
dirty pool. Oh, sure. It's sure. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
All right, Governor, now, disgraced FBI Director Jim Comey, one of Joe's favorite people. Now, he's the man who led the charge for all these corrupt anti-Trump agents. He's again in the process of blame shifting, writing in a New York Times op-ed. Just came out. Mr. Trump eats your soul in small bites. Mr. Trump makes everyone a co-conspirator to his preferred set of facts or delusions. Well, the lack of professional responsibility from this man is stunning.
Well, first of all, he's dead wrong about Donald Trump. Donald Trump does not eat people's soul in small bites. He takes it one great big chomp, and he's over, and he's done with it. It's one of the reasons that he's president, because he does know how to take on an adversary. Jim Comey has a lot of splaining to do. how he leaked, how he lied.
You heard Barr. He's going to be investigating Comey, right? I mean,
look,
that's what we think
I don't
tonight.
want revenge, but I want justice. I really am not interested in just, okay, they did this to us, let's do it to them.
No.
I'm interested in justice for one reason. If the most powerful arm of the federal government can go after and almost take down a sitting president, what on God's earth could they do
Regular
to me?
people. Joe, Comey.
James Comey,
Brennan,
America's
Comey,
dirty
Clapper.
cop. James Comey, America's dirty cop, ate the soul of the FBI. He destroyed the FBI. And this little piece of paper, which is the FISA court ruling from 2017, where the chief judge outlines 4 years of lying by the Obama FBI and Justice Department to the court about illegal spying by 3 contractors, is going to be their undoing. And the court has already informed the Justice Department of the extent of the lying by the Obama FBI and DOJ. You know what? Comey can write poetry and go stand in the forest and write
Redwoods.
Whatever. This goofy guy, he better get used to it, because this is going to be his undoing. This little
I don't
ruling.
ever want Joe to hold up a prop and point at me for anything.
I don't want Joe ever
Scary. When you hold up a prop and it's like a Pfizer,
Yeah.
forget it. But they're already trying to spin these investigations of their conduct, are they
yeah.
not?
Absolutely.
That's what this is about. They know they're on the griddle. They're on the griddle now, all these guys.
It's the Brennan Clapper griddle. I mean, they are fighting back the only way they know how. Dirty.
All right, guys, great to see both of you.
Thank you.
And thanks for mentioning the barbecue. Arkansas is always going to go back to barbecue. These guys, come
Why
on.
not?